I want to do a little exercise that's real. Okay, I'm going to get into the terms because I know them now. Like, does everyone have a wingman? Like, feel like I'm cool. Everyone got a wingman out there, or someone that you sarge with? You know, I mean, does everyone pretty much have one, or someone that's that can do an exercise with you guys? Everyone? Well, just no. I mean, in general.
Yeah.
Does everyone have like a group? I mean, whether it's a layer group or whatever. I mean, this is such a simple exercise, and it works 80% of the time. But it's so simple that you can help the person that's with you for a quick, anxiety reducer. Okay, and it's so fucking simple that it's almost stupid. Okay, but it's just something that's useful. It's a nice, quick tool to help out. Anyone ever hear of the Eye Scramble pattern? Okay, basically the theory behind it is we encode things in our mind at specific points. That's what the eye-axis cues are. So when you see people like, look up here and they're like, I get real anxiety, that they're coding a visual type of code. If they're over here and they're like, well, I just, get this thing where I just say to myself, blah, 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 blah. That they're encoding and they're accessing those states. Okay, we want to scramble that up a bit so that the accessing to those quote emotions or those anxieties or whatever are scrambled, so you don't really have that. It's the whole concept with the record, the old school record. Those of us, everyone remember records? Okay, just so I'm not dating myself here. The records, it plays. If you scratch it, it might get a little bump in it or whatever, or things to that nature. But if you keep on scratching it, what's going to happen? It's going to break the pattern, and you won't be able to hear it. It may jump to another thing. It may just keep on going, rrrt, 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 whatever. It's kind of the same pattern and the same analogy that we're going to use in this next thing. So, Franco, since this is your time here, as long as everyone, it's so easy that, don't worry, everyone's going to get this. Let me borrow you. And what I want everyone to do out there is just think of like a little bit of an anxiety. This is not the time, okay, this is not the pattern to get the huge anxiety that's like the worst and the worst, like the petrified fear. Okay, this is just a kind of like a little anxiety that you may get, a little anxiety about approaching someone. Maybe on a scale of 10, it's around a 6. Okay, something to that nature. Okay? Okay. That's a lovely rainbow. You're going to love this when we're done. Everybody's going to do this, afterwards, but I want you guys to watch it. It's pretty simple. So you have something that small, about a 6 on an anxiety scale, something simple.
Sure.
Okay. Notice where he accessed, down there. These are things to be cool about too. Especially I'm going to go on a little tangent here, but if you're getting the terms of seduction and stuff like this, when you ask girls, like think of your optimal guy, and they're like this, and some of you may have heard stuff like this before, but it's pretty good. So, for example, think of the ultimate girl. Bam. So he's looking up there now, to a degree. It helps to stand in the vicinity of where that eye is accessing, because if you're like, think of a girl that you have no attraction to, and they're over here, and you're standing there, they're filtering a little bit through the neurology about where you're at. So be aware of that. Just say, think of a guy that you may meet the first day, and you may be really connected or intimate with them, and it'd be something you would want to explore, and they're like this. Hint. Stand over there. It's just going to help. These are all little tools, tricks that help, because a lot of girls have resistances up, and it's just a matter of being powerful enough to melt right through them. And stacking the odds in your favor. It's a very cool thing. It's very quick. It's just like, think of a guy you want to date, or a girl you want to date. All right, can I borrow you for a second? Can you stand over here? But it's real quick. It's something simple. That's so quick. It's just like, think of a guy that you would be attracted to if you just met him for the first time. Bam. They stay over there, and you just go, okay. And then you start talking to them. Just a little on the other side. So, back to here. You have a small anxiety, something that's, maybe it's approaching women, maybe it's, I would like it to be kind of in this realm, because this is kind of what it's similar to.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it as?
Well, it's 5 or 6.
Okay. Something small. Okay. Now, all I want you to do, and I want everyone to be aware of this, is all I want you to do is just this whole time, you're going to follow my finger, but you're going to try to keep in the mind that anxiety. Okay?
All right. Can I take a minute to focus on it?
Sure. Okay, so just hold that for a second. Now what normally happens is they're going to be doing this pattern, it's an eye scramble. You want to go up, down, all the way across. You want to get their eyes moving in every direction. It takes a couple minutes usually, and then all of a sudden you'll see a little confusion in their eyes. It'll get a little disjointed. And then usually they go, and it releases. You'll probably feel it. I feel it, so I don't know if other people feel it, but I feel when they release. It's a kind of a weird concept. But let's just go from here. And this is how simple this is. You know, like I said, about 80% of the people it works. So if it doesn't work, just pretend like I was just pointing my finger, running around. All right? Okay, so you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, focus on my finger.
All right.
Okay, now try to keep it in mind.
All right.
Okay, as you're doing that, try to keep it. It usually takes a couple minutes. Try to keep it in mind. You'll see their eyes start to lose it a little bit when it's getting ready to loosen up. I know, it sounds stupid, but you know, just don't do this outside. Okay, keep it in mind. Okay, now I don't know if it's me, but I can start to feel it, that it's, I know, use your other hand if you get tired. Try to keep it in mind, just your eyes. There you go. That's right, try to keep it in mind. Keep your head straight, just your eyes. Sometimes you can throw them off a little bit, just get their eyes. Pretty simple, there's no pattern. You just want to get their eyes accessing all the way as far as they can go. There you go. Try to keep it in mind. There, boom. That was it. Now it looks stupid and everything like this, but boom. Okay. 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 Sometimes it shifts, sometimes it didn't. There was a part where I felt it just went. To me personally, I didn't feel a huge shift, but I want you to go back and try to think of that situation and try to bring back.
I feel like just playing Xbox for like an hour.
Okay. So, but just try to think of that situation and try to bring back any of those feelings.
Yeah, it's hard to access it.
There you go. That's some deep, deep psychology. Okay. Okay. Now, if it sometimes, a lot of times, what's going to happen? I know it's a little shaky.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times, what's going to happen is, you know, you may notice a decrease level of it. So you just go back in there and you do it again. You know, and the words you want to use is, you know, just follow. Try to keep it in mind. Okay. You don't want them to just follow your finger because you're going to lose the state. They have to try to keep that state in mind. So they're keeping it in mind and they're following your eye because you want to break that connection. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is just pick a partner, okay, and do this deep, profound therapy. All right. And these are things that you can do outside. So what I want you to do is go ahead and just pick a partner, and the person doing this, just say, keep on focusing on it. You know, if you get tired, do this. All the way down, you want their eyes, keep their head straight, you want their eyes are the only thing to be moving. Okay, so bring them all the way around, change up the pattern, make sure that they follow you on that thing. The whole time, try to keep it in mind. Try to keep it in mind. Make sure that they keep that while you're moving them around.
You're thinking of that moment.
You're thinking of that quote, that little anxiety, whatever, okay, or whatever it is. This is just one quick little tool that's very useful. So go back to here now. Think about it.
Okay.
Try to bring it back. Okay, is it still where it was?
No, I don't think it's as intense.
Okay, this is a quick little pattern. Now that's what I said. Most people say it's not as intense. You go back and you work with that. You go back and work with that. Okay, this is something that you take your wingman, your partner, anyone that wants to study this stuff, and go through this. Okay, we just spent less than 3 minutes on this. Okay, make the decision to do it for an hour. If you do it for an hour on something, that fucking thing's gone. Me and David D'Angelo used to sit there. He'd come down and we'd sit there in the early phase, probably 7 years ago, and we used to just write out beliefs. We used to challenge him on it all the time. All the time. We'd take that time, we'd find someone to help do it, and we'd challenge them. We'd write them down, we'd challenge them, we'd sit there and we'd ask, is this useful, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is a simple little thing that anyone can do, whether you're out there, whether you're here. Okay, you may seem like, well, I didn't get the whole fucking thing's gone. It's been 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes is nothing. Spend 30 minutes doing it. Keep on bringing it back. Keep on switching it up. But this is a very powerful technique, but it's extremely simple. You may not get it all at once. You may get it all at once. But it's just to show you that you can take the negative effect, the negative feeling, and start to diminish it. Because next time we do it, it may, at a scale, say it was a 7, could be down to a 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it's just not there. So that's kind of what we're looking for. This is something that's very useful. You don't need to know NLP. You don't need to know anything like this. It's just a quick eye pattern scramble. So why don't you guys break up and just go through this and just notice what happens as you do this. Okay, if you have any questions or whatever, just call me and we'll real quick.
What happens if you can't keep it in your head? You can't keep the feeling alive while it's happening?
Most of the time you can, and that just may go back in there and just stop and refocus it, which it isn't a bad thing, because if it can disappear as quick as it comes, then it's not as intense, and it's not as something that, there's probably something else that would work better on it. So like I said, sometimes this exercise works 80% of the time with most people. If it doesn't, or you can't hold it onto it, there's probably a better exercise out there. I have hundreds of exercises. I'm just trying to get the most basic ones for you guys to understand, but it should be pretty easy. If you can't do it like by thought, maybe you can use some synesthesia, come at it through a color, a symbol, what it represents, try to hold that into mind. As long as it has that link with that feeling, and you go from there, you'll notice a point where it just kind of, you'll see it in their eye, where it breaks up a little bit. And that's when you're like, whew, and then you continue going, and then stop, and then just see where they're at. So this is a real quick thing, so let's go ahead and break up and try it. Give it a shot. That whole little anxiety that you had, that little stupid exercise took care of it, and you're like, but I fucking did this for years. Okay? Years of psychotherapy, and I wanted to find the deeper meaning, and oh my God, this little thing here. And I want to impress upon this, because a lot of guys, I think, get lazy, like, well, that didn't work completely. That was 2-3 minutes. There's other things that you can do that I noticed when I was doing them. If they're on pattern, notice their breathing, because they'll be like, and you're like, breathe, and then their eyes stop. This is what happened to you. When I said start breathing, your eyes stayed there, and you're like, and it's not, when you're in that anxious state, it's not normal. Your breathing changes. Usually it heightens. You begin to tighten up a little bit. So when you're doing the eye thing, watch their breathing. Tell them to breathe, but keep the eyes there, Sometimes, like, if they're on pattern, I'll just throw up both hands and go whoosh, and they go, whoosh. So there's not really a one specific pattern here. You just want to make sure that they're going all the way out. If they're like in here and here, it's not going to be that effective. But watch their breathing, shift up the patterns a little bit. Sometimes throw up 2, bam, bam, whatever it takes. Get them to breathe, notice that, because let's see, the scale of 1 to 10, what was the anxieties? Let me just start, raise your hand. What was the quote, anxiety or the kinesthetic sensation that you received or that you were getting at first?
Mine's about a 4.
It was to start with?
To start with.
Okay, what would you say it would be now?
About 10 seconds into it, I couldn't maintain the focus on the anxiety.
Okay, so try right now.
To try to focus on the anxiety?
Yeah, try to get it back.
I can't bring it back at all.
Okay. So these are things too. Also, when you these are quick tricks, but little things. Also, when you're like try to get it back and they're trying to access it, throw your hand up over because they're trying to access. And sometimes they can sneak back and they can find that little groove. So when they're doing it, just go, and they're like, where was I? You know, it's kind of the old, these are not the droids you were looking for. You know? But these are things. So switch it back around, be aware. And like I said, I really want to impress that this has only been 2 to 3 minutes. You know, and if you take an hour, you know, dedicate the time for self-improvement. You know, like I said, I spent that whole night just working on my beliefs. I've done everything from anchor stuff, NLP stuff, you know, stepping out, looking at stuff. If you take that hour and you sharpen your saw, all this is going to build. It's all going to build. It's all going to start to come together. You know, so take the time and say, hey, I'm going to go through these anxieties and pick one that you can't do. If you work on it for an hour, I guarantee you're going to be more bored to access it than even care about it. You're going to be like, fuck, I got to do it again. You know, just make yourself do it. Because, you know, those things that used to bother you in the past will just disappear and they'll get erased. Vary the speed a little bit. Notice their breathing. Keep their head still. And really make their eyes scramble. Go wide.